Café and Networking, the podcast to connect and promote entrepreneurs and business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American known as the King of Networking, connecting people and speaking from my studio in Campinas, São Paulo, Brazil. Joining us today from São Paulo is Edgar Macari. He's a professional with years of experience in technology, global project management, strategy, and analytics. He's a specialist in leadership of multidisciplinary and multicultural teams across the Americas, Europe, and Asia. We met through a virtual networking presentation I made here in Brazil. He earned an MBA in Business Technologies, Strategy, Marketing, and Organizational Behavior from Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. Edgar, you told me you learned a lot about networking during your years in the U.S., saying, I had to learn there during my MBA. Explain that to our listeners.
Hi, Tom. Good morning. Thanks for the intro and thanks for having me. Of course, just to give you and the audience some background, today, when I think about networking and look at my career, it's interesting to see how my network impacted my career even before I started putting some intentional effort and time into it. Well, I've been passionate about technology since I was a kid and saw the internet for the first time and wanted to understand how it worked. So studying computer science was it was a very natural decision for me. When I was about to finish my undergrad, was the first time I actively practiced networking, even without realizing it at the time. A close personal friend of mine started working in a tech company, the consulting in a tech company. And the projects and clients that he was working with sounded very interesting to me. I sent him my resume, asked him for a referral to a position at his team. Well, the company approached me, we had many interviews, and I was admitted. I worked for that company for 5.5 years, and it was an amazing career start. After those almost 6 years, I was already familiar with the term networking. However, I was not practicing it actively and intentionally. Then I went to the United States to pursue my MBA at the Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And as soon as my recruiting preparation started, I realized how important active networking is in the United States. And for me, it was something completely new and different from what I had seen in my whole life in Brazil. And many questions started running on my mind. How should I approach on LinkedIn people working on my target companies and ask them a little bit of their time to talk? And how to approach my business school alumni community to learn about them, about the companies where they work at. How to talk to recruiters and companies' employees after corporate presentations on campus. How to behave at the frequent network events promoted by companies and MBA clubs.
That's a whole different story, huh?
A whole different story. And of course, how to extract the most of those interactions.
Yeah, because what we see, and obviously in the United States, but also other places, an MBA is exactly set up for networking. Obviously, You're there for learning something. And I'm not saying the something is not important. It's very important. But the most important thing is business and personal connections.
Exactly. And I still had that mindset when I was an undergrad studying computer science, and all that mattered were bits and bytes.
And so it's people, right?
It's people now. It's different. And I can say that at the beginning it wasn't easy, but thanks to all the support and orientation I had from the Carnegie Mellon Careers Office and the MBA clubs, I could learn and find my way of networking.
So they actually help you to become a networker.
Yes, it helped me a lot. The careers office and the clubs we have in the MBA program, they have several events regarding networking and to teach, especially international students, not American students, right, how to network and how it should be genuine and authentic and how to behave in those situations.
Well, that makes sense because generally an American an MBA, he's already practiced and done that through his undergraduate study. So he starts an MBA and he already knows that. But what we do see in the States is that persons coming into international programs, they don't do that. Obviously, generally speaking, many of them don't, and specifically Brazilians don't, because it's not natural.
It's not natural. And what I learned about networking as an MBA student, if I to summarize in just one word, be genuine. If your interest on that company, position, or person is authentic, a conversation will naturally unfold, and you'll have a good questions,
right,
which will certainly help you to learn and be noted. So if you just be genuine, be authentic,
be yourself.
be yourself, exactly.
Because what I've seen that most companies want to hire people for who you are, but they need to know who you are.
Exactly.
So very good. So you did enjoy it. And obviously, it's helped you. You've had a career that's been global and multicultural, and it continues. Because that's really how we connected, right? We just connected very quickly on a like of a comment that you made, and here we are talking. So for me, it's an easy process. For others, it seems to be more difficult.
Yes, even I do not consider myself a shy person, but it's just a matter of creating this habit, and then it will start flowing naturally.
Right. That's it. Change the habits. Okay.
Exactly. And after my
go ahead.
And after my MBA, I started working at VMware in Palo Alto, California. And I had the pleasure to return to the Carnegie Mellon University twice to present my company to the MBA students, host networking events, and of course interview many first-year students for MBA internship positions. And also, beyond that, I'm frequently approached most of the times on LinkedIn by people who want to know more about MBA in the United States, about Carnegie Mellon, about companies where I work at.
Right.
And
you.
Yes. And what I learned about being on the other side of the table. Again, be genuine.
Right.
I could not
it's authenticity. Authenticity, what matters.
You can easily tell when someone's interest on you is genuine, and consequently, the conversation is probably very fruitful for both sides.
Right. Well, it has been for me today, even with you from the time we've known each other, Edgar. So I want to thank you for taking part and sharing your experience with us and our listeners, okay?
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tom.
And for our listeners, I want to remind you can find more information about Edgar Macari, and his name is Edgar, E-D-G-A-R. The last name is M-A-C-A-R-I. You'll find him on LinkedIn, where he is Edgar Macari Jr. Café Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil, and more information on their website, which is focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.